Howdy, guys, and welcome to Cliff Notes, and welcome to a recap of night number 66 of the overnight feeds for Big Brother season 25. Night number 66. You know what that means? We're two-thirds of the way through the season. Yeah, it seems like this thing's been on forever. We've got over a month of games still left to play. So it's going to be exciting as we figure out what's going to happen going forward. It was a little exciting last night. We had nominations that took place. So let's just cut right to the chase before we talk about the live feeds. We did have nominations. Now, they didn't happen until late, like 5 o'clock or so, 4:45, 5 o'clock Big Brother time, a little bit later than is typical. My HOH during my season, we did noms at like 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. Didn't give me a chance for one-on-ones or anything. Well, Bowie Jane had a lot of chances for one-on-ones yesterday before the nominations. Again, nominations around 5 o'clock or so, and Bowie Jane has nominated in her HOH. She's nominated Felicia and Cirie. Yes, indeed. She's made what some people are saying are the easy choices, the choices designed to make the least amount of waves. You know what? If I'm Bowie Jane, that might not be the worst thing in the world. Not everyone has to make big moves. In fact, at one point, Bowie Jane points out, she says, yeah, every person that makes this big resume move while they're HOH seems to go home the following week. So not necessarily what I want to do. I don't have any problem with it at all. We are going to talk about it because there's a lot of other people that were putting a lot of pressure on her and will continue to do so for nominations other than Felicia and Cirie. But at least for right now, that's who's on the block. Obviously, we didn't get to see the nomination ceremony, but it sounds like she tried to keep it lighthearted, a little bit humorous. Apparently, at one point, she said something like, oh, F Corey, just as a joke. And I'm not sure if it had to do with Nicole calling out her and America and Corey as she walked out the door. But she said that because at one point, Cameron's talking in one room saying, oh, I bet Corey's having a meltdown that Bowie Jane mentioned his name as part of that ceremony. In the other room, Corey's laughing. It's just an obvious joke. It doesn't bother him at all. But apparently she just kind of tried to make it as fun as a nomination ceremony can be, but kept it a little bit lighthearted. Now, earlier, Bowie had suggested to Felicia that she and Cirie would be potentially going up on the block. You aren't supposed to outright tell someone that you're putting them on the block, but she certainly highly suggested to Cirie and Felicia or suggested to Felicia that she and Cirie were going to probably be going on the block because neither one of them had really talked any game with Bowie Jane since since Red was evicted, however many months ago that was, it seems like now. And so she actually was throwing out a little bit of a justification why she was putting the two of them on the block. All right, now here's what's interesting. It sounds as though everyone in this house right now would probably choose to send Felicia home over Cirie if the two of them are still on the block come Thursday. And I'm not sure that necessarily is going to be the case because it seems like everyone in this house, except maybe for Bowie Jane, would also be incredibly happy to have a backdoor take place this week, which means Felicia and Cirie both could survive the week. There are certainly bigger fish, bigger targets in this house, and we're going to talk about that. We'll mention it right now as a summary, and then we'll cover the conversations. Corey and America certainly want a backdoor of Cameron, and I think Matt and Jag are on that as well, wanting to backdoor Cameron. Cameron and Blue and Felicia and Cirie want a backdoor of Corey. So a lot of people that would certainly change this veto if they want it and they had the opportunity to do so. It's going to be an interesting week. At least today's veto is going to be huge. And then all kinds of scrambling and all kinds of pressure on Bowie Jane as we get to the veto ceremony on Monday. All right, with all that being said, let's talk about the live feeds. Let's talk about what actually happened yesterday, primarily after the nomination. We'll mention one or two little things beforehand and then what happened last night. All right, first of all, let's just talk about this. Way too many people in this house trying to walk all over Bowie Jane and really run her HOH from the backseat. A lot of backseat drivers in this house right now thinking that Bowie Jane is HOH in name only, and they're trying to take advantage of the situation. A lot of people talking to her, I think, in a very condescending tone. There have been subtle threats implied against Bowie Jane, reminders that she is vulnerable next week, that if she doesn't do what someone wants her to do, that other people are going to be coming after her next week, that she is going to be the backdoor target from, just insert a name, whoever's on the other side. A lot of people trying to make sure that Bowie Jane's a little bit nervous about what she's doing. Other people talking about Bowie Jane in little group huddles, saying that she doesn't have a clue, that she doesn't know her place in the house, etc. To use the language of season 25 in Big Brother, everyone in this house right now is trying to get Bowie Jane to do their dirty work. They all think this is a perfect situation. Get her to do what they want. Blood's on her hands, not theirs, and they succeed and go forward. So yeah, it was just a lot of that throughout the day, throughout the evening. Jag and Matt are maybe the only ones in this house who are being at least a little more subtle in the pressure that they're putting on Bowie Jane. Not that they aren't doing it also, but they're being a little bit more respectful. Maybe I'll use that word, maybe not, but a little more subtle in trying to convince Bowie Jane to do what they want to do. They're putting the push on as well, but not nearly as much as Cameron and Corey and a few other people. All right, here's the thing. It certainly works to Matt and Jag's advantage to have Corey and America versus Blue and Cameron. So they're pushing an agenda as well. But I think in a lot of ways, Matt and Jag are looking pretty nicely set up right now with these other two groups kind of going after each other. All right. So again, everyone trying to walk all over Bowie Jane and her HOH. Now, before nominations, Bowie Jane had told Cameron in a little conversation that she really wanted to get her and Cameron and Matt and Jag through the next few weeks. It suggests to me, now maybe she's playing Cameron, but I don't think so. I truly think that she's maybe looking at Cameron, who she has the final 2 with, Matt and Jag, who she has a final 3 with. The combination, those 4, I think is where Bowie Jane is looking going forward. So we'll see if that pans out as we go throughout the week. But that's who she has said she'd like to kind of go through, make sure over the next few weeks that they are they're protected. So we've got that. Now, the other thing, she had talked about wanting to be part of the team during this conversation with Cameron. I think there's something to that. I think Bowie Jane has felt like kind of a lone wolf for a while, and so she's ready to be on board with someone else. It's just a matter of finding those someone else's that she can trust, and I think she thinks she's found it through these 3, and to some degree, I think she's correct. All right, we've got Bowie. Really, Bowie. People are not giving her enough credit. Bowie really kissing up to Cameron a little bit during their conversation. She's asking him for advice on how to talk to different people, how she should make deals with people. What do I do, Cameron? And Cameron just eating it up. He's giving her all kinds of advice, some of it warranted advice, some of it unwarranted. But certainly she knows how to make Cameron feel important, and I think she's playing that up a little bit. Bowie Jane is an attorney. She does not need Cameron's help in terms of how to negotiate with people and how to work out deals and how to approach people and how to ask questions. I think she's got that pretty figured out, but she's got to ask a question anyway. And certainly he's all on board with that. I think it's pretty well. So she's playing Cameron pretty well. Cameron for his part, I mean, he's putting a lot of pressure on her, more than he probably needs to, but he also at times is saying things like, I want you to do this, but it's your HOH. At the end of the day, I'll do whatever you want because it's your week, and I understand it. At least he's giving her that a little bit. Corey, on the other hand, Corey just misplayed Bowie Jane all night long, all day long, I think. He really was talking down to her a little bit, in my opinion. He told her, he said, I know you may be a little scared. You may be a little terrified at your position of power. I know how hard it is. I know that you're probably feeling super stressed out with everything that's going on. So here's what you should do. Here's where you need to go, Bowie Jane, and really just thinking he's going to tell her everything needs to be done to make her HOH perfect for him, not so much for her. But he really is pushing hard, and Bowie Jane, whatever age she is, whatever they think it is, whatever it actually is, here's Corey, 21 years old, telling her how she needs to handle stress and terrors and all that. I think Corey needs to be a little less leadership with Bowie Jane that he was yesterday, because he very much was telling her what to do, and what to do is put up Cameron and Blue. That is certainly his agenda. He wanted them up as the nominations. Well, that didn't happen. So now he's pushing for a backdoor instead. He is telling Bowie Jane at one point, if she doesn't get out Blue and Cameron this week, or Blue or Cameron this week, that next week it's going to be Corey and America probably put up as the initial nominations, but that it could easily be then Bowie as the backdoor target. So just a little bit of a threat there, or a warning. Take it for what you will. All right, we've got America talking to Matt. She's telling Matt that they were trying to convince Bowie not to put up Cirie and Felicia. Well, she did it anyway, and America is saying that Cameron had said that Matt and Jag don't trust America because she talks too much. So let me say that again. So America is telling Matt that Cameron had said that Matt and Jag had told her that they didn't trust her because she talks too much. And Matt's saying, no, we didn't say that. It was actually Cameron who said that about you, America, that he didn't trust you because you talk too much. We didn't say it. Cameron said it. So you're getting two different stories here, America. And he's also pointing out to America saying, look, Cameron's trying to pit us against each other. He wants, us against you and Corey. And he's saying whatever it takes to get us upset with each other. And just take that with a grain of salt, America. All right, let's talk about, or there was lots of talk about who's going to play in this veto once the nominations take place. And that's a done deal. Now it's all about who gets to play in the veto, who's going to do what. Matt is hoping that Cirie or Felicia, one or the other, will pick Matt or Jag if one of them gets house guest choice, that he would like to play in the veto competition. He thinks there's a good chance that they would pick him. America is telling Matt, saying, look, try to convince Bowie Jane to pick you instead of Cameron. We don't want Cameron playing his thing because we want to backdoor Cameron. So see if you can convince Bowie Jane to pick you instead of Cameron to be house guest choice so that you can play this thing, keep Cameron out of the veto competition. America's also telling Matt that she had previously talked to Cirie and Felicia and told them that she and Corey and Matt and Jag, so that group of four, had tried to get Bowie Jane to not put Cirie and Felicia on the block. They tried. Well, they did because they wanted Cameron and Blue on the block instead. But she's telling Matt that, saying, I told him that the four of us tried to keep them off the block, that it didn't work out. Matt maybe not as happy as America would think with that. He's saying, look, when you say that, first of all, it suggests that the four of us are working together, that we're a group of four. When you say us four, we're trying to make this happen. And he says, secondly, if you're telling them that you didn't want them on the block, the four of us are together trying to convince otherwise. He said that only leaves Cameron and Blue as the nomination. So in saying you were trying to keep them off, you were also pitching Blue and Cameron is who you wanted to be the case. And he said, yeah, and so they're kind of bringing us in as well, saying that. So he finishes off by telling America, saying, just be careful about who you talk to and what you're saying. So the conversation started off with her wondering, saying different people were saying that she couldn't be trusted with information. It kind of finishes off with Matt saying, yeah, be careful who you talk to, America. Don't be bringing my name too much and Jag's name too much into conversations that you have with other people. I thought that was pretty funny. All right, we've got Bowie Jane talking to Corey. She's telling Corey that Cirie, at least Cirie was a good sport about being nominated. Hey, at least now Cirie gets to finally compete in a veto competition. She hadn't competed in any of them so far. Watch, Cirie's going to win this veto. She's going to turn into the comp beast for the last third of the season. But yeah, she said, Cirie was a good sport about it. Felicia, though, not so happy. We certainly saw Felicia stewing a little bit later in the day. And I think Bowie Jane says, or Corey says, yeah, maybe it has something to do with this is, I think, her fourth time on the block. She's probably a little tired of it. Yeah, I was on the block a few times. You get tired after a while. Tired. So they're saying Cirie handled it okay. Felicia, maybe not so much. Does anyone really expect Felicia to handle being on the block well after what we've seen so far? No, not at all. And again, Corey's saying, I think it's probably because it's her fourth time on the block. All right, Corey is telling Bowie Jane that he surprised her a little bit with this. He says, if I get picked to play in the veto and I win the veto, I'm using it. And Bowie Jane says, oh, you would use it? Yeah, I'm going to use it. And he says, here's what you need to realize, Bowie Jane. He says, if this veto gets used, whoever is the renomination that you put up there, they're going home. That's the end of that. He said, because myself and America and Matt and Jag, we're all going to be votes. That's 4 votes. That's more. It only takes 3 this week with you as a tiebreaker. 4 send someone out the door and you're not involved at all. He said the 4 of us are going to be voting, and he said whoever goes up as the renom will be going home, Bowie Jane. So keep that in mind. Now, is he saying that to suggest that if she backdoors Cameron or Blue, that it's a guarantee she doesn't have to worry about it not going through, and then suddenly she's got someone that's mad at her? Maybe that's what he's suggesting, but it also very much looked to me like the way he said it, it's just like, well, we're going to do what we want to do, Bowie James. So just be aware, whoever you put up, we're in control, and they will be going out the door. So he does mention that to her. All right, Corey is talking to Jag at one point. Corey's warning Jag that Cameron just told America a little while ago that he doesn't want to go to the end with a duo. He doesn't want to be the third wheel with another duo. So certainly that alarms Corey, who already is going after Cameron, right? Ain't no big deal there. But he's also making sure that Jag's aware of that, because Jag and Matt are a duo. And so, in other words, Corey or Cameron saying he doesn't want to go to a final 3 with you and Matt, just in case you're thinking that, Jag. So he's certainly planting that seed a little bit. Corey is talking about telling Blue that Cameron has been, this is a plan he's got. He says, let's make sure that Blue understands that Cameron's been throwing Blue under the bus, is ready to have her gone, doesn't want her here, on and on, blah, blah, blah. Let's make sure as much as possible to try to get Blue upset with Cameron, so she'll target Cameron instead of us, instead of me, basically is what Corey wants. So that's his game plan going forward, to try to create a little more chaos. Chaos Corey, once again, I'll throw it out there. All right, there are more talks about who picks who for veto if a house guest choice is selected. A lot of that last night. Corey and Jag are suggesting that Felicia or Cirie could pick Matt, could pick Matt, and then Bowie could pick Jag. They want to stack the deck. Corey says we should have the majority tomorrow. If not, we should still be okay. But really, they think there's a very good chance that Cirie or Felicia, either one, would pick Matt or Jag. Bowie picks the other one who's left. So again, you don't have Cameron, you don't have Blue competing in this veto competition. And they're talking about this to Bowie Jane. They're all upstairs sort of acting like they're playing chess, at least. But Bowie is hearing them saying, pick Jag. If you get a chance, Bowie Jane, pick Jag. That would be perfect. But Bowie Jane's pointing out, saying, look, Cameron expects me to pick him for house guest choice if I draw it. She said, if I get house guest choice and I don't pick Cameron, he's going to know something's up. He's certainly going to suspect something's up, that maybe I'm working with you, Jag, if I pick you. So I'm not real sure exactly how I can make that work. I don't know how I need to say that without alerting him and making him worry as well. Bowie Jane does not want to get house guest choice at this point in time, because it forces her, I think, to draw a bit of a line in the sand. She doesn't want a house guest choice. She doesn't want to use a veto. She wants to have this safe, easy pick done. Now she's through with her power. She's safe. Let the other people go after each other. I think that is her agenda at this point in time. So yeah, certainly not a house guest choice. Bowie is thinking, though, that getting Blue out, if there is a back door, if she does have to put someone else up, she's telling at least Corey and Jag that getting Blue out at least breaks the duo up of her and Cameron, that they've seen acting tighter with one another here recently, and that she thinks that if they got Bowie out, Cameron probably would not come after her at that point in time, that he would have bigger targets like Corey. So she would probably be okay with that. It's not what she wants to do, but if they got out Blue, maybe that's where she would head. All right, after Corey leaves, so now it's just Bowie and Jag up there. Bowie's telling Jag, saying, I'd prefer to keep the noms the same. Corey can talk on and on about this. I don't want to do that. I want to keep the nominations the same. She's saying, a renom is great for Corey's game, not so much for mine. So he can do whatever he wants, but I don't want to do that. And she says, if I do have to make a renomination, maybe I'll just put Corey up for orchestrating this whole thing and putting me in this position. She says it jokingly, but sometimes joking comments have a little bit of an underlying sincerity to them as well. So she's telling Jack, saying, yeah, basically, I think what she's saying, he keeps pushing me, he keeps pressuring me. Maybe he could go up on the block. There's a lot of people putting pressure on Bowie Jane this week, and a lot of people that maybe better be worried about that and be a little careful. At the end of the day, is Cirie and Felicia their perfect pick who they want? No. But if it's not them, maybe that's good enough. But we aren't seeing that just yet. So she's saying, yeah, if he keeps it out, maybe I'll put Corey up instead. She is saying as well that Blue really maybe is the best option, even though she said that in front of Corey. In reality, it could be the best option. She tells Jag, she says, I'm not going to backdoor Cameron. Y'all keep saying it. I'm not going to backdoor Cameron. So if I don't do that, then Blue may be the next best choice. They need to listen to Bowie Jane when she says that over and over again. She's not going to backdoor Cameron. No matter how many times you suggest it, it's not going to happen. So there you go. All right. We then have probably the most awkward Big Brother dinner in Big Brother history. I don't remember any of our meals being that awkward. We had Taco Tuesday, which was a little stressful. But even after that, we still had dinner together. But this is perhaps the most awkward dinner in Big Brother history. Not a word spoken. Felicia cooked dinner. No one even thanked her for that. No one's saying a word. I did think it was interesting as I was watching the feeds. Very interesting how and where everyone was sitting together around the table. Says a lot about, I think, the relationships in this house right now. Cirie sitting by herself at the kitchen island. She doesn't want to have any involvement with anyone. She just wants to be backed up, hands off. I'm not calling out anyone's name. Just leave me alone. So Cirie is sitting there by herself in the kitchen island. Corey and America are sitting side by side on one side of the table. On the other side, we've got Blue and Cameron that are more or less sitting together. Felicia alone, no one on either side of her. She's got her sunglasses on, staring straight ahead, not saying a word as she eats. And then we've got Matt and Jag and Bowie kind of over on one side of the table, sitting side by side, eating together as well. So yeah, I think you can tell a lot, not just by what people say, but by their behaviors, such as who sits with who and who talks to who. Now, no one talks to anyone at this point in time, but I did think it was interesting seeing who was sitting next to each other during that dinner. Oh, it was so awkward. You did the feel the tension in the air. All right, we've got Cameron talking to Bowie. He's telling Bowie that he absolutely wants Corey out this week, but he'll do whatever Bowie Jane wants. So, yeah, that's nice to say, except that he keeps pushing over and over and over again. She said, just as she told Jag, she does not want to backdoor Cameron. She has made it pretty clear to Cameron that she's also not wanting to backdoor Corey. And on the one hand, he's saying, whatever you want to do, that's fine. No matter what I think, whatever you want to do is fine. Except he won't leave it alone. He keeps bringing up Corey's name over and over, and she keeps having to shoot him down over and over again. Bowie is saying that she doesn't believe in backdoors. And Cameron responds something about saying, well, yet, you say that now, but you don't believe in backdoors yet. If you remember, I think Cameron was the one who said he would not ever backdoor anyone. He didn't like that. He was going to be up front with it. Well, now suddenly he's kind of going the other direction now that he has a possibility to get Corey backdoored. Suddenly backdoor is not such a bad thing. He doesn't have Bowie Jane on board yet. She's still saying, yeah, I want to play the game honestly, and that does not involve backdoors. Yeah, backdoors are part of Big Brother, but she doesn't want to do it. Stop pressuring her to do so. Bowie is worried that if she has some reasons for it beyond just that she doesn't believe in backdoors. She says, if I backdoor Corey, even if it works, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but even if it works, then I got America coming after me, coming hard. And I don't want those kind of targets on my back just because I do something like that. So she is worried about the repercussions if she tries to backdoor someone, especially if it's a duo that the other person would then come after her. So she's given some justifications for why she would just prefer to keep things alone the way they are right now with her nominations. All right, we've got Matt and Jag talking to one another, saying they're just going to have to convince Bowie Jane to backdoor Cameron. They need to make that happen. They need Cameron gone this week. they'll talk Bowie Jane into it. They do have a decent game plan of how they want to do that. They want to tell Bowie Jane that if she wants to be part of a team, that 2 out of the 3 of their alliance want Cameron gone. So, majority rules, right? You got to do what the rest of the team wants. If the rest of us want someone gone, if you're going to be a team player, you got to make it happen. Well, Bowie Jane's the HOH. That gives her a tiebreaker, I suppose, or an extra vote or two when it comes down to it. But that's their game plan. They're going to talk to Bowie about. They later are discussing that same plan with Corey, saying we're going to convince Bowie to backdoor Cameron. It just has to be done. Corey is agreeing, saying we've got to do it. We've got to keep the pressure up. He says at the end, at the end of the day, Bowie is going to fold under pressure. If we keep pushing and pushing and pushing, she'll eventually fold and backdoor Cameron if that's what we want her to do. I don't think so. I don't hope so. I hope not. Stand strong, Bowie Jane. Own your HOH. Ignore everyone else. Do what you want to do that benefits your game. I hope that happens. I don't think she's going to break under pressure, but Corey's convinced that she will if they just keep the pressure up. All right, we've got Matt and Bowie talking to each other a little bit. Matt is doing his part to throw Cameron under the bus. He said, look, Cameron's throwing everyone's name out there like he has always done, even all the way back to Family Style. He's continuing to do that, Bowie. Bowie responds, says, look, I know Cameron has to go at some point. And she says, I'll vote him out. When it's time for it to happen, I will vote him out. But I'm not going to backdoor him this week. I know that's what you want. I'm not going to do it. Later, I'll vote him out. Next week, whatever, I'll vote him out. But I'm not going to backdoor him this week. She says if it came down to a backdoor, I'd actually feel a little more comfortable backdooring Corey than I would Cameron. I remember she and Cameron have a final two. I don't know if it's a formal announced handshake, pinky swear kind of final two, but it might as well be. Matt's not aware of that. And she's saying if it comes down to it, Corey's better, a preferred pick over Cameron with the backdooring. But she does mention to him as well to follow it up. She says, I almost wish there was some kind of big blow up that took place, or I had heard that maybe Cameron was saying horrible things about me. Some reason for me to justify putting Cameron up, because without that, I'm not going to do it. Well, there's a little hint to you, Matt. If you really want to play down and dirty, maybe you create a blow up. Maybe you do something between now and Monday to drive the wedge between Cameron and Bowie Jane. I'm not sure that's possible, but I think that's about the only way this potentially is going to happen. But she mentions that, and Matt says, well, yeah, maybe she'd talk to Jag about that. And I think he wants Jag to, because he says, I'm not always aware of all the conversations because of my hearing and all that. So I maybe don't know as much about what Cameron's been saying about you, but I know some things have been said. So maybe you ought to be talking to Jag. And then just soon after that, Jag shows up ready to come in, tag team approach Bowie Jane with their arguments and everything. And I will say, Jag does a very good job about presenting his argument to Bowie Jane. He's telling her, saying, look, team loyalty is all about moving, is all about being loyal to, let me start over. He's telling Bowie Jane, saying, look, team loyalty is all about not necessarily being loyal to others outside the team as priority over the people within the team. He's saying if anyone outside of the team is targeting anyone else within the group, that becomes target number one for all of us. It has to be. You can't play an individual game. You've got to go after anyone that's targeting anyone within our group. And he's saying to follow that up, he says, I really want to move forward as a team. I've always wanted to be a team. I think you do too. We are a team. He says, but that means that we have to agree on everything. We can't make these rogue moves. We have to be in agreement before we take any kind of action. And he says, and if we can't agree, then probably we need to go to majority rules. It can't just be a single individual decision. We need to, whatever the group wants, even if it's just a majority, we need to go forward with that. Well, he's got an ulterior motive because he and Matt already know that they're the majority in terms of wanting to backdoor Cameron. So I think Jag does a pretty good job of presenting this. Bowie Jane's not arguing with any of it. She's saying, I agree. I have a feeling if the veto comes up, Jag will come back and reference this discussion as justification for why she needs to do not what is best for her game, but what is best for the the team, even though Matt and Jag are the final two. So teams within teams within teams, right? All right. So but I thought Jag did well with the argument. All right, we've got Felicia and Blue and Cirie a little bit talking a little bit. Cirie is absolutely amazed that anyone would ever come back to play Big Brother for a second time, third time, fourth time. She's saying, I can't believe anyone would ever subject themselves to doing this more than once. She says, for me, never, 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 never. It's on tape. Never again am I ever playing this game ever again. I think Cirie's figured out just how hard and stressful the game of Big Brother can be. All right, we've got Cirie and Jag talking a little bit. Cirie is saying that she actually, even though she's on the block, she's feeling pretty good. She's saying because of you, Jag, and really a whole lot of other people in the house as well. I'm feeling pretty good because I really don't feel like I'm the target. And she's not. Now things change. Pawns go home. Let's talk to Nicole about that. But at least for now, she's feeling pretty good. She doesn't feel like she's a target. She understands that maybe Felicia isn't a target either. But even if it's the two of them, that probably maybe Felicia is a little bit more of a target than she is. So she's feeling all right with that. Jag Asker says, you know, if you got house guest choice in the veto competition, who would you pick? And she says, well, I'd probably pick you, Jag. If you're not available, I'll probably pick Matt, which is exactly what Jag wants to hear. So he's happy to hear that Cirie is going to be leaning on them for veto. Doesn't matter because Cirie's going to win it anyway, right? We'll see. All right, we've got Corey and America and Felicia talking a little bit. Corey is telling Felicia and Cirie, saying, look, or I guess I don't think Cirie was in there at the time. Corey's and America are talking to Felicia. He's saying, look, Felicia, you and Cirie aren't our targets. That if I end up playing in this veto competition and I win veto, I'm taking one of y'all down. He doesn't say I don't think who. He just says, I'm taking one of y'all down. And he tells her as well, he said, I'm pretty sure that everyone, maybe not Bowie Jane, but everyone else, anyone else wins veto this week, Felicia, we're taking one of y'all down. So the two of y'all are not targets. Y'all need to be aware of that. Felicia's been upset. She's been stewing. But with this information, maybe she'll see a little bright at the end of the tunnel, even in the darkest of times, so to speak. So he's saying, yeah, we're good. Y'all are both pawns. I just want y'all to know that. All right, we had various house guests studying the days throughout the evening, night, studying days, events, faces, etc., because I think that this could be OTEV today, which typically involves those kind of questions. We know it's not going to be OTEV. It's going to be Zingbot. Could you have some kind of tandem Zingbot and OTEV together? Well, that could be kind of interesting. I don't think it's going to happen, but that'd be hecka cool if they do that. All right, we've got America explaining OTEV to Cirie while Felicia listens in. She's talking about people stashing answers and other people trying to sabotage those stashes and how hard it is going down the ramp. And Cirie is just maybe wishing maybe there was one more week where she wasn't competing in veto as she hears this thing explained. OTEV was hard. I played it. It was hard, but I'm so happy I got to play in such an iconic event. It was great. All right, we've got Cirie and Felicia in their beds talking a little bit later in the evening. Both of them talking. Neither one actually wants house guest choice picks tomorrow. They would just soon have just a regular draw. Whoever plays. They don't have to start picking people and all that. So I thought that was kind of interesting. They don't want to have to pick a house guest. They are recognizing kind of what Corey and America said earlier. They're recognizing that almost everyone wants to use a veto to try to either backdoor Corey or to backdoor Cameron. They're recognizing these two sides that are forming up against each other. I got to say, for two people who are on the block, I kind of feel like these two people may be in a decent position right now because you've got these two sides consolidating against each other. If Felicia can just chill out, not call out too many people, if Cirie can just stay a little chill as well, if they can survive this week, there may be two big old battles that they can just stay back from and let other people pick each other off for the next few weeks. They're in a decent position for people who are on the block. But they're recognizing that there's a lot of people who want to use the vetoes to try to force backdoors and all of that for this week. Felicia is saying that if Matt or Jag wins the HOH next week, that she thinks that they would put up Bowie Jane alongside either Cameron or Corey, whichever one stays from a backdoor this week. not sure that Felicia's got the best read on the house. I don't think Matt and Jag are putting up Bowie Jane, regardless of what happens. But she is envisioning them being safe the week following. They're really both feeling like maybe they could survive this week. And again, as I said, I think maybe they could. All right. And then finally, we've got America and Corey in bed. America, they're continuing conversation about Cameron a little bit. America refers to Cameron as a slimy snake. They need to go. He needs to go. Just get him out of here. So she talks about that. They're kissing a little bit, start a makeout session. While you hear snoring from Matt, bed or two over, while they're having their fun for the evening. Now, it's funny. At one point, Cameron came in. This is late. It's like 2:30 or so in the morning. So 2:33, Cameron walks in the door for just a second. As he walks in the door, they increase the noise of their makeout session. They get a little more vocal just for his benefit. And when he walks out, I think Corey says something like "well played" or something, and America says something like, "Yeah, I can be petty when I want to be." But yeah, they kind of turned up the volume just for a second for Cameron's benefit. So yeah, Cameron and Corey and America not necessarily on the same page, same side, best of friends at this point in time. So we did have that, and that's pretty funny. And with that, lights out, everyone asleep by 4 o'clock or so, Big Brother time. Maybe been a little before that, but it turned into a decently late evening. We do have the veto competition today. Zingbot. Oh, I can only imagine the zings that are going to be generated for these house guests. They better be good ones, because Lord knows there's a lot that Zingbot can talk about. So we shall see. We probably will not get the insults, the Zingbots comments and everything live on the feeds. It never happens, but we'll certainly hear them all talking about it. So by tomorrow morning, we should have most, if not all, of Zingbot's comments. We'll know who won the veto. That's going to be so huge to determine what happens going forward. And Bowie Jane's going to have to deal with another 36, 48 hours worth of all kinds of pressure on her to use that veto for her benefit. She better win it. Although, as I said before, I don't think she wants to win it, because that forces her to potentially draw a line in the sand, which she doesn't want to do. So we'll find out. Guys, y'all have a fantastic Saturday. Gig of Aggies playing Bama. Oh, I hope it works out well. I'll have a huge smile on my face tomorrow if it does. Y'all have a great Saturday. I'll be back tomorrow morning to give you the update on the veto competition, Zingbot and all that. Until then, guys, SKD 143. Cheers, my friends.